Does the Caro-Kann pawn structure offer good outposts for pieces? Have you ever wondered how pawn structures can shape a chess game? Today, we will look at the Caro-Kann pawn structure and see if it provides good outposts for pieces. The Caro-Kann defense begins with black playing the moves c6 and e6. This setup often leads to an exchange where black's d-pawn trades for white's e-pawn. This results in white having an advanced pawn on d for while black's position can feel a bit cramped. In this structure, white typically enjoys a spatial advantage. The advanced d for pawn controls important central squares and limits black's piece movement. Black's goal is to maintain a solid setup with pawns on c6 and e6. They often plan to break the center with moves like c5 or e5, which can help activate their pieces. Now let's talk about outposts. For white, the advanced d for pawn creates strong central and kingside outposts, especially for knights and bishops. Knights often find great squares on e5 and c3, supported by the pawns on c3 and d4. This positioning allows them to apply pressure on black's position. The knight on e5 can be particularly strong, as it is well supported and can lead to aggressive plans, including attacks on the king side. On the other hand, black's pieces may feel restricted at first, but they can find good outposts on d5 or f5 after executing pawn breaks with c5 or e5. This helps black challenge white's spatial advantage and activate their pieces. Both sides typically develop their bishops to active diagonals. For example, white's light-squared bishop often goes to d3, while black's dark-squared bishop might move to b7 or f5. This positioning supports control of key squares and potential outposts. In practical terms, white's spatial advantage and pawn structure allow for flexible plans, including kingside attacks supported by well-placed knights and bishops. Black must carefully time their pawn breaks to open lines and create outposts for their pieces, overcoming their initial cramped position. The structure encourages piece coordination around these outposts, with rooks often placed on open or semi-open files, like the c-file or e-file, to support central or flank operations. So, does the Caro-Kann pawn structure offer good outposts for pieces? Yes, it does, especially for white, who benefits from the advanced d for pawn and the supporting c3 pawn. Knights and bishops can occupy strong squares such as e5 and d3, forming a solid base for attacking or controlling the center. Black's challenge lies in preparing pawn breaks to create counterplay and piece activity, establishing their own outposts on squares like d5 or f5. This balance between space and solidity is what makes the Caro-Kann structure so interesting in chess.